7 years after our divorce, I saw her again. It was a rainy afternoon, the kind where the city feels softened by water and light blurs into reflections on the pavement. I was passing the small cafe on Main Street, the one we used to stop at after work, when I noticed her sitting by the window. For a moment I wasn't sure it was really her. But then she looked up. She hadn't changed much. The same sharp eyes. The same familiar smile. Yet something was different. And in her expression, a quiet distance that hadn't been there before. When our eyes met, my body locked in place. My chest tightened in a way I hadn't felt in years. 7 years is a long time. Long enough to rebuild a life. Long enough to convince yourself you're healed. And yet, there she was, looking at me as if time had folded in on itself. I don't know what made me walk inside. Maybe curiosity. Maybe unfinished feelings. Maybe the simple pull of a past that never fully lets go. The smell of rain and coffee filled the air as I stepped closer. She didn't stand. She just watched me waiting. "Hi," I said, surprised by how quiet my voice sounded. "Hi," she replied. Her voice was the same but fragile, like a song I used to know by heart but hadn't heard in years. The silence between us was heavy, crowded with everything we never said and everything that broke us. I sat across from her, gripping the edge of the table as if it could steady me. "It's been a long time," I said. "Yeah," she answered softly, leaning back. Then she inhaled deeply, as if bracing herself. "I've thought about you. About us. A lot." For a moment my breath caught. I wanted to ask what she meant. How? Why? But fear held me still. 7 years had taught me how painful hope could be. I had learned that love without trust collapses, and trust, once broken, never fully returns. "I don't know what to say," I admitted. "Seeing you like this. I didn't expect it." "I know," she said. "I didn't plan it either. I just needed to see you. To tell you something I never did." Her hands twisted together in her lap, betraying her nerves. I felt the urge to reach across the table, to close the space between us, but something inside me stayed guarded. "Why now?" I asked quietly. She swallowed. "Because I've lived with regret for years. I made mistakes. I let pride and stubbornness ruin what mattered. And I never told you the truth." Memories rushed in. Arguments that spiraled too fast, silence replacing communication. The slow realization that she had hidden a friendship that crossed lines. The betrayal hadn't exploded all at once. It crept in unnoticed until everything collapsed. And yet, beneath the hurt, I knew the love had never fully disappeared. "What truth?" I asked, my voice tight. She met my eyes, and for the first time the distance between us seemed smaller. "I loved you," she said. "I always did. Even after you left. Even after the divorce." The words hit harder than anger ever could. I had expected explanations or excuses. Instead, I heard honesty, raw and unprotected. "I was scared," she continued. "I made choices I shouldn't have. I hurt you. I know I can't undo it, but I needed you to know that my feelings were real." I leaned back, letting it sink in. 7 years apart, and here we were, two people marked by the same past, finally speaking without armor. "I don't know what to do with this," I said after a moment. "Part of me wants to forgive. Part of me still hurts. Hearing this changes something. Just not everything." Tears shimmered in her eyes. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to hear it from me. Not through time. Not through silence." We sat there quietly as the cafe buzzed around us. I thought of the nights I had spent alone, the anger I had buried, the slow work of moving on. And I understood then that this meeting wasn't about starting over. "Hearing this," I finally said, "changes the way I remember us. It doesn't erase the pain, but it softens it." She smiled faintly, relief washing over her face. "That's enough for me," she said. I stood to leave, and for a brief moment, she reached out and touched my hand. It was small, fleeting, but it carried years of unspoken emotion. As I stepped back into the rain, the streets shining beneath my feet, I felt something I hadn't expected: peace. Not happiness. Not reconciliation. Just peace. Some meetings aren't meant to revive what was lost. They exist to bring understanding, to offer closure, to remind us that love, even when broken, leaves truth behind. 7 years had passed, but in that single afternoon, we bridged the space between pain and acceptance. Our paths would separate again, but I carried her honesty with me. A quiet reminder that forgiveness doesn't always mean returning, and love doesn't always mean staying. Sometimes it simply means facing the truth no matter how late it arrives.